Topic that I found very interesting from these units is parenting styles. I was familiar with some of the styles ahead of time, but I was not familiar with indulgent parenting, and it took me by surprise. Indulgent parenting is one of the four main types of parenting styles, and it can have a large negative impact on the children. Indulgent parents typically over nurture and rarely discipline their children. These types of parents are typically quick to attend to their emotional needs of their children, and they tend to treat their kids more like a friend than a child. They don't necessarily act like an authority figure, and they place very little responsibility on their children. Children grow up without boundaries and responsibilities and generally have very little guidance from their parents. When the children are young, that means they have very responsibility at home, such as chores or homework. Or if the rules are in place, they tend to be followed by very few consequences for breaking them. As children grow up, they tend to have trouble following the rules and trouble with impulse control. Studies have found that these children tend to be associated with crime and alcohol-related issues as they grow up. Another result of indulgent parenting is children tend to struggle with self-control. Without self-control and parental guidance, children of indulgent parents tend to be more impulsive and have more behavioral issues. They are less able to regulate their emotions and behaviors. As a kid, this means they often have temper tantrums, and as they grow up, these children also have less empathy and thus worse social skills. A great example of this comes from the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Hey,
Factory.
Daddy, I want a golden goose.
Here we go again.
All right, sweetheart, all right. Daddy will get you a golden goose as soon as we get home.
No, I want one of those.
Wonka, how much do you want for the golden goose?
They're not for sale.
Name the price.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't?
The man with a funny hat.
I want one. I want a golden
Violet is accustomed to getting what she wants and when she wants it. She is not respectful of other people, nor is she able to cope when she isn't able to get her way. It is clear that her parents give her what she wants, no matter how unreasonable of a demand it is. As a parent, it's also important to have some rules for your child to follow, but more importantly, there are consequences of breaking the rules. Compared to an authoritative parent, indulgent parents don't have rules or place responsibility on their children. The reason authoritative parenting is the healthiest style and most successful type of parenting, especially compared to indulgent parenting, is that they tend to teach their children to follow rules and look after themselves and their belongings. They learn to care and to respect themselves and each other and other people. It is almost the opposite of indulgent parenting. It is easy to change from an indulgent parenting style to a healthier, authoritative parenting style. This change would involve including your children in the decision and rule-making process so that they are aware of what is expected of them and what acceptable behaviors are. This also means that they are aware that there will be consequences enforced if a rule were to be broken. The biggest reason that parents don't like to discipline their children for bad behavior is parents are afraid of being the bad guy. There are consequences in just about every aspect of a person's life, though, so it's important to teach your children to follow rules and let them experience failure and consequences once in a while. It's also important to make it clear and remember that this is a parent-child relationship and not one between two friends. Ultimately, the parent is in charge and gets to make the final decision.